The first round of the Guinness Women's Super League has come to an end. 12 teams, 11 games each, and a total of 66 games that have been disputed in the first round of this competition. We have the defending champions, FC Ebolowa, the current frontrunners. They lead the classification table with 31 points gained from 10 wins and 1 draw. They are still unbeaten in the competition. They are closely followed by Leke Football Girls, who trail behind with 3 points. In third place on the classification table is Amazon Fab. In fourth place is Itambong FC of Cameroon. The fifth position is occupied by Loafing Prov, while the tail end of the classification table is occupied by Aisawa, who have had a hard time so far in this competition. Joining me to do a review of the first round for the Guinness Women's Super League is sports journalist and analyst Afeseh Apong. Hello, Afeseh, and thank you for joining me today.
Hello, Brian. It's a pleasure being part of this show for us to examine the Cameroon Women's Top Tier Championship, especially the end of the first phase of the 2024-2025 season.
Afeseh, the season is midway through. 11 games have passed and 11 more games to determine the champions of this year's edition of the Guinness Women's Super League. Now, what are your overall impressions of the first round, and which teams to you have not been able to live up to expectations?
We are about to witness the same kind of championship we witnessed during the 2023-2024 season, where it was a two-man horse race between Leke Football Fee and FC Ebolowa. When you look at the two teams, they are the two teams that have really been impressive so far since the start of the championship, and they currently sit at the top of the championship. FC Ebola, who are the defending champions, they've proven beyond reasonable doubt that they want to consolidate the title they won last year. Leke Football Fee, we all know that the team has been through a very difficult period, especially with the passing on of their president, but they've still managed to keep that pressure on the top of the table, which is FC Ebolowa. I mean, when you look at the two teams, they have some of the best talents we have in the Cameroon women's football selections. And of course, the results are speaking for the two sides. I mean, the teams that maybe have not lived up to expectation like I would have expected in this first phase of the championship. We have a team like Authentic FC of Douala, who last year were one of the teams that were very impressive, but at the end of the championship, where some players like Team Shalom left the team, they've not really lived up to expectation this year. I mean, another team, RS Awa Football Club. You look at RS Awa, given the fact that this is a side that dominated women's football in Cameroon just few years ago, and they currently sit at the bottom of the classification table with just 2 games won. It's really tough to explain how quick things turn around for RS Awa side that were once a dominant team in Cameroon women's football, but now currently find themselves struggling.
Afeseh, from the word go in the female Division 1 championship this term, Leke Football Girls and FC Ebolo had already proven that they are the favorites to lift the title this term, but it was a little bit very difficult to say who was going to win. Leke started the season as front runners. They were leading up until the loss against FC Ebolo, and then they fell behind Ebolowa in the competition after losing by 1-0. Now, it's currently a 3 points gap because the K girls have dropped points on 2 occasions. So there's a 3 points gap. Do you think that the K girls have already bottled the league, or they still have their chances in their pockets?
These two teams were separated last year just by head-to-head record because they had the same number of points. Leke Football Fee had a good goal difference, but in Cameroon football, we know that it's the head-to-head record that decides when two teams are tied in terms of the same number of points, and that's where FC Ebolowa won the league. But this time around, Leke Football Fee had a good start to the campaign, but recently they've dropped points, especially in their 1-0 defeat to their direct rival FC Ebolowa, and recently they were held to a 0-0 draw by Cyclone Football Club of Douala, which doesn't speak well for Leke Football Fee because presently they have 28 points and are 3 points short of their league leaders, FC Ebolowa, which means it will be very difficult for them to pick up the pace, especially if they don't beat FC Ebolowa in the return phase of the championship. For them to cope and meet up with FC Ebolowa, they need to beat FC Ebolowa in the return phase of the championship to make sure that in case of a tiebreaker, FC Ebolowa will not have that direct advantage over them. So I think the championship is still long. We have 11 more games to play. These two teams have proven time and again that they have the elements to why not dominate women's football. They have players who can play, score the goals. Like as of now, they have for the two top scorers in the league. I talk of at least Flora coming in the books of FC Boloa, Tiwa Melon, who is the young sensation we've had in Cameroon women's football for these past 2 seasons. I think these two teams, they still have a long way to go. And I think the title race is not over. Though seemingly Lekki Football is running out of steam, but I still believe the title race is not over.
So now let's talk about Apong FC of Nkambe, the lone English-speaking team in the Guinness Super League in Cameroon. Now, I understand that this is their second season, so they're about 1.5 season old in the Guinness Women's Super League because they've not yet completed their second season. So this is the second season, and in the entirety of last season, they were only able to get 6 wins. Now this time they already have 5 wins, and they are in the top 4 of the competition. Now, is this something you expected from Itambong FC of Nkambe, or it is something that you did not really expect them to pull up in the competition, especially considering the fact that they are just a season and a half old in the competition?
Yes, Brian, talking about Itamon Football P of Kambe, I must say I'm really, really impressed with the performance of Itambong so far in the campaign. They have a very good record. They've played 11 games. They've recorded 5 victories, 5 defeats, and 1 draw. I'm really impressed with how Itambong Football Club have been able to win games out of home, because out of their 5 victories they've recorded this season, 3 of those 5 victories have come away from home. They've only managed to win 2 games at home, which I must say it's an improved performance so far this year at home, because last year they only managed to win 1 game at home, but this year they've been able to record a total of 7 points from the home games, which I think it's an improved performance. Even the games they've lost at home this year, they've actually put off an impressive performance. I must say, I'm not surprised by their performance. It's true, it's just their second season in the Women's Super League, but I am not surprised because of the quality of players they recruited this year. We have Itambong, who kept a cream of players they had of last season. I think the only person that is lacking from that team of last year is Mado, who is no longer part of the team. But most of the players were kept, from goalkeeper Glory, from the likes of Shea Antoinette, the likes of Tanji Brown, Anita, and the rest. They brought in good elements, reinforced the team with players, some coming from Nigeria, as the likes of Destiny Ade, who is the club top scorer this year with 4 goals and 1 assist. I think it's been an impressive run. We've also seen the likes of Ashley Ngone, who have come in to stabilize the team. Not to talk about the likes of Fonchan Neris, who I think are a good addition to the team. So I'm not really surprised with the performance of Itambong Football Club in Kambe this year. I think they are on a good footing. And finishing the first phase of the championship on the 4th position, to me, I think it's a good move for Itambong Football Club of Nkambe. Should they succeed again in picking, they recorded 16 points from the first phase. Should they pick another 16 points in the second phase, I think it will be more than enough for them to stay afloat in the championship. And why not looking to finish in the top half of the championship, which I think would be a great performance from a team coming from this part of the country where we know it's been in a crisis situation. They don't have good football infrastructure. So I think I've really, really been impressed by the performance of Itambo.
One more question before we rush to an end of this episode, which is, of course, our very first episode. Now, just like tradition, there are 2 teams in the competition who were recently promoted from the Female Division 2 Championship, Cyclone FC and Vision Foot. Now, we look at it, Cyclone currently in a compromising position, or in not a very comfortable position on the league standing so far, and then a Vision Foot in a way mid-table. Now, how do you rate their performance already in the competition? How do you rate them being newbies in the competition and considering what they've done so far in the competition?
Well, talking about the performance of Cyclone and Vision Foot, who are the 2 newly promoted teams in the Guinness Super League, I think so far so good. It's not been a bad season for them. Vision Foot, they have 12 points from their first 11 games. I think it's passable. It's not a bad performance. Most of their players, unfortunately, had injuries in the course of the campaign. Some left the team. Meva Kiki, who was the main striker for the team, couldn't finish the first phase of the championship because of injuries. But with their 12 points recorded, I think it's been a good start for them. And it shows signs of hope in the horizon. For Cyclone Football Field of Douala, I think they've had their own fair share of difficulties. They've recorded just 9 points and sit last but one on the rankings. I think they still have a long way to go. They have to work harder if they want to stay afloat in the Guinness Super League, because it will be disheartening to see a team qualify for the Guinness Super League and make just one season and they are relegated to the regional level. So I think Cyclones still have a long way to go. It's been a kind of average performance from Vision Food, but I think both teams will need to step up in the second phase of the championship.
All right, thank you very much, Afeseh. Thank you for being my guest. I do hope to have you on other editions. Do not forget to keep it locked on all our social media platforms. Thank you very much, Afeseh, for your expert analysis on today's edition of this special show.
Well, Brian, thank you. It's been a pleasure sharing these moments with you. And I think we will be right back to talk about other events in Cameroon football. The L1 Championship, the L2 Championship will be our focus in the later editions of this program. So we invite all our listeners, why not, to stay connected as we will keep them up to date with happenings around Cameroon football.